It's November, the leaves are changing, the temperatures are getting cooler, I think. Maybe, unless global warming has kicked in. But you know what that means? Great anticipation. What big blockbuster games or anticipated indie games are set to part you from your money, or your parents' money, this holiday season? Ron and I will take a look at the upcoming slate of holiday releases and give you our take on them next on Downloadable Content. Downloadable Content, our holiday lineup episode of 2015. I am Brian, and with me we have Ron and Ron Alone Day.
Hi everyone, I like Ron Alone Day. It's very comfortable, very personal. Get to be very intimate with our listeners.
We do. It's another one of these, very, hush-hush, cozy, quiet.
Sit by the fire, pour yourself a glass of wine, listen to some Barry White. I believe that's right in that.
Barry. If you were listening to Barry White, you probably would not be alone.
Okay, but they're with us, so see, they're not alone.
Well, Barry White was usually the type of musician reserved for if you're about to get laid.
Okay.
And unless people liked getting audibly fucked, then
phone sex operators do exist, so
they do. They very much do. So, give them something to do. Why not?
Mm-hmm.
Why not? So, yes, we're going to be talking about the slate of holiday releases for this year. And before we dive right in, though, just want to let you all know every single episode of Downloadable Content can be found on iTunes, YouTube, and Stitcher. And you can get in touch with us through a variety of ways. Facebook.com/DLContent, on Twitter @DLContent, on Tumblr, dlcpodcast.tumblr.com, and you can always email us dlcontent1@gmail.com. All the different ways to get downloadable content into your ears. Just make sure you have plenty of gauze and tissues and the ear rinsey blue thing handy, whatever those things are called, so I'm not responsible for that. So yes, we're going to talk about our holiday lineup, our anticipated holiday releases, and as we both look through the lists, I'm glad to see that there's going to be some games out there that are playable on stuff I own.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice thing to have.
That's a nice thing to have, and because, again, full disclosure, I do not own any of the current gen systems. I do not own a PS4 or an Xbox One or a Wii U, so I see a lot of these games and I'm like, any of them coming out for 360 or PS3 or 3DS or even PC? And yes! I'm like, oh, good! And
yeah, they're getting good about... this is probably the last year that we will have the backwards compatibility on your PS3 and PS4 and Xbox 360 and Xbox One games. So I would say 2016 will probably be seeing it like PS4 and Xbox One and PC.
I think soon that's what's going to happen, but this fact that there's still a nice healthy slate of games still coming out for PS3 and Xbox 360 still tells me that there's a lot of people who are still very much happy playing on the previous systems and have, like me, have no intention of giving them up.
I think it's an issue. They're waiting for the good games to get out, and I think after this year, this holiday season, that they'll finally be able to justify buying it.
Well,
because they'll like a backlog of games built up, basically.
I will say this: it's going to be Final Fantasy VII that's finally going to do it.
For most, assuming Final Fantasy VII goes out next year, which if Square Enix was smart, they put it out in like the middle of July, also known as the summer like dirge or the
dearth.
What is it? Dearth. Thank you. Dearth. The summer dearth of gaming. Like if they want to get free money, you give Final Fantasy VII HD remake to gamers in the middle of summer, so they can spend literally all summer playing it.
So let's dive right in now. Taking a look at these upcoming lists of releases, the first thing that I noticed about them is that, especially as we get into December, the list is not as robust, it would seem, as in previous years. It actually seems like the bulk of the blockbusters came out earlier this fall, in September and October.
Yeah, part of that's due to the game developers wanting to avoid the holiday rush, like the holiday dirge of games that we usually have, compared to now where they're trying to throw it out because they want to actually make money, instead of having gamers get slammed with a $600 bill on their credit card over the course of 6 weeks.
Looking at some of the games here, it was like Halo 5 Guardians. That sounds like a title that would be normally slated for a holiday release, or Assassin's Creed Syndicate. That's another.
They're out. Well, those games are out now.
Yep, they're out now. It's just, I'm not usually. I don't usually expect to see those types of big names released earlier in the fall. We're talking mid-October. Yeah. I'm used to seeing them, Black Friday, go. It's
You're like, Black Friday, have fun with this. But no, they did it because they want to, because they might actually be listening to us. Everyone have a moment here. The developers of a video game might actually be listening to us and splitting the games up and putting them out sooner or later, so that we can actually play them and be able to buy them when we want to, and not be forced to try and buy them all at once.
Could it be that they might actually start to make sense?
We want to give you our money, just not all at once.
Yeah, please. Alrighty. So, this episode, obviously, you guys are listening to it on November 11th, so obviously we're recording a few days before that, so this game will be out for 1 day by the time this episode airs.
There's a good chance that you guys will be playing this game while listening to this.
That's very true, so let's just get it right out of the way now. It's the next major entry in the Fallout series. It is Fallout 4.
Yep.
Which is slated for a November 10th release, and...
Yeah, it is slated to be released November 10th, midnight EST. So that means that if you are in the US, you could have this pre-installed on your PC on Steam on the 9th, early in the morning on the 9th, basically, is when you can download it and have it installed, and then you can begin playing it when midnight happens on EST.
So that means my time zone will get it first.
Yeah. But no, it's midnight EST, and then I think it might go live, period, on midnight EST, so that it would become live for me at 11 p.m. on the 9th.
Okay, so they do it all at once. It's not going to be a staged...
Yeah. I think it's going to be all at once. I could be wrong.
So, yes, Fallout 4, it's going to be on the Xbox One, the PS4, and the PC. So, no previous gen for this one, and looking at the game, looking at screenshots and whatnot, preview stills, I can see why.
Yeah, at first glance, you may think, why is this game not on a PS3 or 360? It looks pretty similar to Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. But then you start thinking a bit more about the graphic quality and how polished it looks, and then you kind of think having this thing run at I could have sworn they said they were expecting it to be 60 FPS. I could be wrong, but if they're expecting it to be very little load time, full exploration, Skyrim, like how Skyrim was, where you can just walk from one side of the map to the other without any loading, then you do need on a next-gen console.
Which is, I know 60 FPS has become the industry standard now.
60 FPS is what people want. More often than not, the games are still being made at 30 FPS.
And just as a brief aside, this past Halloween, the Resident Evil games that are on Steam were on sale for 66% off. So I am in the middle. I'm getting ready to move apartments, and I don't want to be lugging around all of these discs anymore. So I've been starting to digitize my video game collection.
Yeah.
And then selling the physical discs on eBay.
Yeah.
So Resident Evil 4 was marked down 66%.
So it's like $5 or something.
It ended up being 6 and change.
Yeah.
Same thing for Resident Evil 1, the remake. And Resident Evil 5 and 6 also. Were 66% off. So I picked up 1, 4, and 5. 6 can go to hell.
6 can go burn in a trash heap.
Yeah. And Steam was like, we're selling 4, 5, and 6 as a bundle, right? And they're like, yeah, no.
No. I will pay the extra price to not play 6.
It basically amounted to an extra quarter.
Yeah, I will pay 25 cents to not play 6. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, no. So, one thing I noticed is that Resident Evil 4 is it started as a GameCube exclusive. So now, as it's been cleaned up for HD, they made it so that Resident Evil 4 runs, you can run it at 60 FPS.
Yeah.
And my computer looked at that and went, "We can." My computer was like, "We can run Skyrim at 60 FPS, but we can't run Resident Evil 4 in 60 FPS because you're taking an old game."
You're taking an old game and trying to speed it up. That's not the best idea.
So, and I'm like, I played this on the GameCube and the PS2. To me, there's not a huge noticeable difference between 30 and 60, but
it's not really noticeable especially with games that are made at 30, and with 30 in mind, it's not going to be noticeable. But for like Twitch gamers and people that like FPS games, like you will notice it more in like FPS games and stuff like that.
So that's just my little aside. Back to Fallout 4.
Yeah, back to the nuclear wasteland.
Now, I'm sure, Ron, you have a ton of friends on your social media pages, as do I, who are salivating.
Yeah, they're salivating, being like, I've already got my Mountain Dew and my Doritos. I've got like the next 4 days like taken off from work. You're not going to hear from me for at least those next 4 days. There's a good chance you may not hear from me for a week.
And the hype that Bethesda is building up for this game is so great that I was actually I got a link to a Kotaku article from my friend Jeremiah over at Bombad Radio. He sent me a link saying that Bethesda has asked the professional review sites to
your Kotakus and your Game Informers of the world
to not actually put out a review until the day before the game releases.
Yeah.
Which to me is an unusual practice because, even though I don't really check out sites like IGN, I still get the print Game Informer once a month, and I barely read that.
That's toilet reading for me. So
yeah, I know but I know that the usual practice is that for a big game or any game really, reviews are in usually at least a week before.
Yeah.
If not more, before the actual game comes out. This is a little bit odd because Bethesda has expressly said, do not put out reviews until day before. And I'm like,
yeah. Okay. And I said this to you off air. I'm going to say it on air. There's two main reasons why. It's because of the advent of Twitch TV and people streaming it and doing YouTube reviews and stuff like that. they want the game to be in as polished of a form as possible before they have review sites putting out their reviews. Because previously they would send review copies to publishers, and they would either not be entirely like gold edition, like their gold sent to the disc publisher to be engraved onto the discs, or that there are bug fixes that they discovered in the meantime that makes the game run smoother, or fix some game glitching bugs or stuff like that. And that's okay, because like, hey, that you want to present the game in as good a position to the reviewers as you can, because these guys can influence the game in terms of how people, whether they're going to spend the money on it or not. The other reason why people usually do this is because they know the game sucks ass and they don't want people to review it and say it sucks ass until the day before, so they can try and get people to spend their money beforehand and not read the review and be like, hey, this game is shit, don't buy it.
With the amount of hype and resources going into this game, I would hope that
it's the former, not the latter.
Yeah, because
like from what I've been seeing and like rumors and stuff like that. So again, rumors, take that for what you will. Like, the game looks fine. It may seem a little awkward compared to Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas, where you could sit in VATS for ad infinitum to like analyze the battlefield, because of how they said, no, you can't sit in VATS for forever now. The game's still going to progress slowly while you're in VATS. Which I'm okay with, because VATS should never have been intended to be as a, let's freeze the battlefield for a moment to figure out whether I'm going to try and shoot you in the head or see what's around me. VATS should have been used as that, I want to use math to my advantage, when my physical prowess not up to snuff.
You can tell that there's a massive fan base waiting for this game. Do you remember the story that, some months ago, earlier this year, where somebody sent Bethesda an obscene number of bottle caps?
Yeah. they sent Bethesda, like...
Hold on, I'm gonna look that up.
I was gonna say, they sent Bethesda, I want to say 60,000 bottle caps. And then it was like, here's me paying for Fallout 4 at a time.
Yeah, this was back in June. There was a fan who sent Bethesda 2,000 bottle caps.
Okay, 2,000. Sorry, my bad.
And Bethesda went, you know what? That's fucking awesome. We're gonna send you Fallout 4 for free. Yeah,
because it's like, Bethesda specifically tends to get like its community. Like they had their press conference at E3, and they had 3 games. They had Doom, they had their Battleborn, which was like 5-10 minutes, if that, and then they spent pretty much the rest of the conference talking about Fallout 3, and they covered a lot of stuff about, Fallout 4, and they covered a lot of stuff that people would have had questions about Fallout 4, like how's it look, how's it going to run, what kind of things are you having on it, and they said, like, here's what we're going to have. We're going to have weapon crafting. We're going to have town building. We're going to have a better facial, character creation system. And they showed you and they talked about all this stuff because they want you to get excited. They want you to care about the game because people have spent 200 and 300 and 400 hours in Skyrim, and they want you to do the exact same thing in Fallout 4.
So, the problem, this was only a one-time thing, though, so if you send bottle caps to Bethesda now, you're not getting...
Yeah, you're not getting it. Bethesda will reward creativity, is basically what that article says.
And I'm reading the bottle caps thing on GameSpot, and one of the comments says, you better start amassing mammoth tusks to get your free copy of The Elder Scrolls 6, then.
Yeah, basically.
Or dragon scales. But anyway, so yes, Fallout 4 looking like it's going to be a huge seller, and even though I'm not a big Fallout fan, I know many people who are, and they are seriously looking forward to this.
I think you would enjoy it, Brian, because a little bit more than Fallout 3 in New Vegas, just because of where it's located. Do you know where Fallout 4 is centralized in?
Nope.
It's in Boston. Again, Fallout's like dystopian future, like 1950s type Boston that's been blown to hell and back because it was nuked. So like one of the towns is called Diamond City. I'll give you 3 guesses to where the Diamond City is actually located.
It's I think that's the premise though of the. Isn't that the premise of the entire series? Is that the place gets nuked and
place gets nuked. You get to explore it 100 years after the nuclear winter has occurred, basically, and you get to see what has changed and what is different. Like it's interesting because Bethesda has said that there is lore for Fallout 4. They know which side fired first, but they're not saying who. But Fallout 4 may imply, like, they may say who did fire first. Finally,
it's like, you did it. You finally did it. Damn you all to hell. You know.
Yeah.
We'll have one of those moments.
Yeah. For your Twilight Zone moments.
So that's Fallout 4, and also coming out on November 10th, because this is pure genius on Square's part.
Yeah. So like, which business executive and marketing person decided, hey, here's the most hotly anticipated RPG coming out this year. Let's put Rise of the Tomb Raider on the exact same day. That's going to be a great idea, right, guys? Right?
To be fair, I don't know who put out the release date first. I don't know if
Fallout 4 was announced.
Was Fallout 4 announced first?
Yeah, Fallout 4 date was announced. Fallout 4 date was announced November 10th because they announced that at E3. Square Enix said that Rise of the Tomb Raider was set for Q4 2015.
Okay, so all right.
They could have said, "Hey, we'll release it on the 17th or December," but Square said, "No, we're going to release it same day Fallout 4."
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
And
like you'll notice too, if you look at the release schedule, like a lot of the game companies and AAA games were released either before Fallout 4 or a week after Fallout 4. The only one releasing in the same week as Fallout 4 is Tomb Raider. Like, I don't know who was thinking this. At Square Enix, I thought that was supposed to be a good idea.
Well, they did, and so that's what's going to happen. So, from what I gather, Rise of the Tomb Raider, basically, it continues the storyline of the reboot?
Yes. Storyline of the reboot is, like, from what we've seen of cinematic trailers and, like, snippets of gameplay, Lara gets therapy from all the things that happened because she's trying to think about this like a reasonable person and not a crazy lunatic. Even though she herself has admitted, like, for all the dumb and evil and crazy bullshit that happened, it was actually really fucking exciting. I want to go again. And so she's like trying to figure out if she's actually insane or if she's just an adventure-seeking sociopath. To which we don't really know yet, but it's still her exploring. She's in the Himalayas and is looking for Shangri-La, I think. Or not Shangri-La, basically.
I don't know, again, Tomb Raider, another series that I have not too heavily invested in, but from what I could tell from the promotional material, it looks like it sort of goes back. There's more, like, tomb exploration, more classic.
Yeah, more classic, like, dungeon delving and tomb exploring and puzzle solving and things like that. Things that people wanted to see more of in the first rebooted Tomb Raider. Like they didn't really mind all the as much as the gunplay and action that there was. They just wanted more exploration, which I think this game will let you do. So if it is a similar gritty story or gameplay where it's like it's a challenge, it's life-threatening, you should feel panicked and stuff like that, but you have more exploration and it is as good of a combat system as the reboot Tomb Raiders game is, it will be a good game. It probably will get good reviews. It won't sell nearly as good because they're fucking idiots, but that's not our fault.
Well, we'll see how that game fares because it's going against Fallout. Good luck.
Yeah. We forgot to mention it. Fallout 4 is PC, Xbox One, PS4.
I did say that.
Okay, you did say that. Rise of the Tomb Raider is only Xbox One.
I thought it was 360 as well.
It might be 360 as well. I thought it was only Xbox One.
According to the Game Informer and Wikipedia, it's showing as Xbox One and Xbox 360.
Okay, so it is 360 then, but still, it's an Xbox exclusive for year, 18
for
months?
At least a while, yeah. So it's eventually going to get onto the PC. It's just
but it again, like
that's what we're doing now in the video game industry. Now we have
cross-platform.
Yeah, since everything is so cross-platform that now you have timed exclusive. That's the new.
Well, I don't mind if there are certain exclusive games, but the only really notable ones left are Mario for Nintendo.
Anything Nintendo, really.
Yeah, or anything Nintendo, really. Halo. And then you have Halo, and that's it. Although I guess Uncharted and Infamous for PlayStation, but those are the only really noticeable titles as of late. Everything else is cross-platform because they're businesses. They want to make money.
Well, yes, of course.
So put it on everything so you can get more money.
Moving right along, this is the next game I want to talk about is actually an indie game. It's an indie game that it's a ton of fun. It's a great multiplayer game, and it's called Night Squad. And it's probably been mentioned on downloadable content before because this game has been in early access on Steam for the last 2 or so years.
And it's being officially launched on
November 16th for the Xbox One and PC.
Okay.
And it's a multiplayer game. You can play, you against the computer. It's you versus it's I think it's 8-player at once. Yes, it's 8. 8 players at once.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, it's... you'll have to dig back into your classic games for this one. It's as if Bomberman and Gauntlet had a love child.
Alrighty.
And it's very quick, very fast-paced. It's you play as knights. You have different colors. And there's a ton of different game settings. Like, there's a capture the flag setting. There's a free-for-all, get the most kills within a certain amount of time. There's a mode of play where you have to capture a grail and bring it back to your starting point without getting killed by the other players.
Uh-huh.
Capture the grail is basically kill the carrier.
Yeah.
There's a 4-on-4 soccer mode, which is silly but tons of fun. And I was first made aware of this game by another friend of mine who's been on downloadable content before, Wyatt, over at Sprites and Dice, and I make it a general rule never to buy anything that is early access.
Mm-hmm.
That's just personal preference. I think most early access games are scams, but again, that's a whole separate rant. So, they were at PAX a couple of years ago, and they were at PAX last year when they were selling early access Steam keys for $5 instead of $10. At that point, I went, okay.
Yeah.
And it's a ton of fun. Again, the multiplayer is very good, and it's PC and Xbox One. The studio is called Chainsawsome Games, and it will come out November 16th. So, it's an indie game. I'm finally looking forward to seeing it actually getting... I was starting to think that this was going to be one of those many, many games you find on Steam that just stay in early access forever.
Yeah, forever and ever. But
you know, it's getting an actual release. So.
That's good. I really do. I understand that there are some developers that want to get their game out early and get press early on it, especially for indie games, because you kind of need that. But at least put your game out when it's at least like 50% done, not at like 10% or 25% that they seem to be doing as of late.
Well, there's a reason why that you have a buyer beware warning on early access games on Steam, but...
Yeah, I know. It's still annoying.
Moving right along then, back to the AAA games, I've been seeing a lot of press for Star Wars Battlefront.
Yep.
Comes out November 17th for Xbox One, PS4, and PC.
Yep. Recently, there was a closed beta for a weekend or so, where you could play as Rebels or Empire on Hoth. And the game looked fun. It looked really good. The gameplay looked pretty solid. It looked like you were playing Star Wars, and it wasn't like the normal modern-day shooter with, like, guns and arrows, stuff like that. It was literally just little more than thermal grenades and blasters. There was some balancing issues that need to be done on the map, but that's about it. It looked a lot of fun, though. It looked like it ran pretty smoothly, too. This will probably be a game that you'll want to play with friends, because I think you will enjoy it more if you play with friends than by yourself, unless you are a really big Star Wars fan or a really big fan of the co-op gameplay, because this is all multiplayer, mind you. There is no single player mode. You will have to play online with this game. You will need a PlayStation Network Plus or an Xbox Gold account.
Yay! Yay, paywall.
Yeah, and I guess I can understand why, because DICE just wanted to only have it be like focusing on the multiplayer like their normal Battlefront games are. I just wish that there was like a story mode or something like that, but I know there isn't, because it's Star Wars, and that tale is about as well known as Lord of the Rings.
Well, yeah, there is that. Well, I don't play the Star Wars games either.
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah, and since we're talking about shooters, I'll bring up the other shooter. You had Call of Duty Black Ops 3 come out November 6th, so that's out already.
That would be today.
Yeah, and today as of recording.
That would be today. Yep.
Yeah. The only reason I know about it is because I was up getting a drink and saw my brother on the back porch playing it on his PS4, and I'm like, "That's new. What are you playing?" And he explains it to me. I'm like, "Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to bed now."
Yeah. You play Call of Duty 5 billion. I'm going to bed.
Yes, but at least with Call of Duty, there's a single player mode, so that's at least something that it has over Star Wars Battlefront. It's PS4, Xbox One. I don't know if there's a PC version or not. I want to say no.
Xbox One, PS4, PC.
Okay, there's a PC version. All right.
Yep.
All right. Good.
Yeah, good. Move on.
Yeah, moving right along.
Moving right along. Let's add some Nintendo to this first half.
Yeah.
Because I just want to remind you, the Wii U and the 3DS still exist.
Yes. They are still game systems.
They are still game systems, and this comes out. We're getting up to the week of Thanksgiving here, and we've got two Nintendo games. The one for Wii U, it's Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. Now, I don't own a Wii U, but I actually do find the Mario sports titles a lot of fun.
The Mario sports titles are generally a lot of fun. They also tend to ruin your friendships.
Yes.
As most multiplayer games from Nintendo usually tend to do.
We will talk about that in much greater detail on the season finale about the Mario offshoots. But yes, the sports games, the Mario Party games, the Mario Kart, yes, they're all designed to be really fun, really intense, and friendship breakers, yeah. Divorces.
There might be three things. There might be a lot of fun, they're meant to be really intense, and they're meant to try and test your friendship. If you know you have a good friend when you can beat their ass 5 times over in Mario Kart and have them not hate your guts for all time.
Yeah. The thing is, I'm curious to see. Obviously, because Wii U uses the gamepad, you can't really be throwing a gamepad at the tablet controller.
But if you play multiplayer, you can still use the Wii remote,
correct.
And then you can throw that at your friend or your TV.
Yeah, just make sure you put the wrist strap on.
Mm-hmm.
So that comes out November 20th. Again, Wii U, because it's a Mario title, you will never see it ever not Nintendo. So Mario Tennis Ultra Smash. The other game, this one for the 3DS, I'm a little hesitant about this game because the offshoots don't usually do very well. Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon.
Is this where you are a Pokemon and you are exploring various, dungeons?
I believe it is, yes.
Those ones tend to be hit or miss. There are some good ones in the series. I haven't played them personally. I just know that they exist. But I know that there are some good ones and some that can be really stinkers.
And, again, it's... I have never played... That's a lie. I remember playing... I think the only Pokemon offshoot game I ever played was for the Game Boy Color. I think that was Pokemon Pinball.
Yeah. If anything...
Way the hell back.
You probably would have played Pokemon Snap.
I remember
or
that.
Pokemon Stadium.
I've played Pokemon Stadium, you're right. I have played that back when I was a wee little Brian.
Yes. I really... Again, these are all hit or miss titles. I haven't played them too much either, so I can't really comment on them. I just know that they exist.
They exist.
Yeah, they exist, and you may enjoy, you may not enjoy. I would recommend waiting for reviews. I will mention that there is Legend of Zelda Triforce Heroes for the 3DS.
Yes!
That came out a week ago, I want to say. Late October.
Yeah, hold on, let me check the date.
I want to say October 30th.
Close, move back a week, October 23rd.
Okay, so it was relatively early, but still in that holiday-ish window. It looked interesting. The only issues I had with it is that you could only play with 2 friends, because Triforce 3. So instead of it being like Legend of Zelda 4 Swords, you're only playing with 2 friends instead of 3. Or if you're playing a single player, you just play with 2 bots, and you can switch around the character you play as. But it looked like it's going to be pretty similar in terms of gameplay to 4 Swords. So if you like that and you have a couple people to play with, it probably should be fun.
And I did not know this. I'm only going to mention them briefly because I really have no idea what these games are about. The Vita still exists. That surprises me.
Yeah, that still exists.
Yeah, the PlayStation Vita still actually exists. There are no games coming out for it in December, but I see a whole 2 Vita titles coming out November. One called Super Beat Sonic.
think it's a sound rhythm game.
It seems like that just from the title. That comes out November 10th, and the other one is Dynasty Warriors 8 Empires, November 24th.
So they're still making Dynasty Warriors games, all right?
Woo.
Yeah. There is one more Nintendo game coming out this year that I think people want to pay attention to.
All right, and we'll close the first half with this.
It is Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
It's already out in Japan, but it comes out in the US December 4th.
If I had a Wii U, this would be Title 1.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, if I owned a Wii, the list of Wii U games I want to play is slowly getting to the point where I actually
justify
buying the system.
Yeah.
But Xenoblade Chronicles X, to me, if I owned a Wii U, would be a must-buy. I really enjoyed the first Xenoblade Chronicles very, very much.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
If it's going to be similar gameplay with better-looking graphics and you being able to pilot a mech and actually be able to fight in said mech and have it be better combat than Xenogears mech gameplay, then I think you've got a solid winner there.
I do.
And also, it's also admittedly one of the few JRPGs left.
Yes.
Actually, I think it's probably the only JRPG this holiday season.
At least in the AAA land.
Department, yeah.
At least, yeah.
Actually, there's not many RPGs in general. You just have Fallout 4 and then Xenoblade, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the JRPG as a genre has really fallen out of favor. Probably in large part, and we've devoted episodes to this before, but I still feel that JRPGs they've fallen out of use is because they haven't really evolved. They still use many of the same tropes and same gameplay mechanics, and it hasn't really evolved. So when you get a game like Xenoblade, which is still very noticeably at its core JRPG, but then evolves the storytelling medium, evolves the gameplay mechanics, it's like a breath of fresh air, and you have to wonder, why don't more game developers, evolve the JRPG concept so that...
I think we talked about this before, but my rebuttal is long development time.
Yes, we like quick turnarounds. I know it's
and that's just a casualty of the modern day gaming era. I feel is that most RPG games need to be your Fallout 4s, your Skyrims, or your action RPGs like Kingdom Hearts. But even then, there's still things that, or they're going to be handheld games, or they're going to be like 3DS games or Vita games.
That's true. I mean, I'm still getting through Bravely Default. Which it's
and there's probably a second coming out sometime next year, I think, too.
Yeah, I mean, JRPGs, to be really successful, you need to they're so story driven.
Yeah, and I think them moving to handheld is actually a good thing, because you can be portable with them, and you want to be able to play them from the option of being able to be portable with them is such a huge benefit to them, that I think that's where they're going to thrive better at. But still, so that's not to say that we don't have the console ones, like we said, there's Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles X now for people to enjoy. And then sometime next year, I'm sure Square's going to have Kingdom Hearts 3 releasing, and along with Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah, and Final Fantasy 15, it's like I'm very cautiously optimistic. I felt so badly burned by 13 that it was just I
played that demo they had on the PS4 for Final Fantasy 15, and it was basically nothing but gameplay. The gameplay seemed pretty decent. If there's a good story there, then they may like rewrite the ship. But I'm very, very cautious because they can fuck that up so bad.
So it's like a cautious yay. Maybe, hopefully.
Cautiously, you're doing your job. Nice work.
So we'll talk more about that as it gets closer. But for now, we are going to close the first half, and we're going to take a break. So you'll have some music, and when we come back, we'll continue this fireside chat. We'll talk about more games, and we'll go from there. So you're listening to our holiday lineup episode 2015 of Downloadable Content. We'll be back. Welcome back to Downloadable Content, talking about our holiday lineup. Ron's still here. He hasn't gone on a GameStop shopping spree.
No, not yet.
He probably has at least $8 billion in GameStop gift cards in reserve, though.
Only 7.5.
Only 7.5. And no bottle caps.
Nope, no bottle caps.
No bottle caps. Nope, so.
I was saving that for after the bombs fall.
Okay. Good idea. They'll be worth...
Thinking ahead.
They'll be the new Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
They'll be the new Bitcoin. So, we are going to dive back into our holiday releases. Now, again, we said at the outset there's not too many major ones. We've covered most of the big ones. We have a few left in December to bring up, and so I will yield to Ron to open it up.
All right, I've got one. I'm not a big fan of the series in general.
Yeah.
But the gameplay looks very fun, and I think people will enjoy it. It is Just Cause 3. This comes out December 1st for Xbox One, PS4, and PC.
All right, current gen.
Yeah. Here's a general thought process behind the game. Have fun, blow shit up, fuck physics.
That kind of reminds me a little bit of the racing game Burnout.
Yeah, it is a little Burnout, but as an example, the main character has a backpack that has a collapsible parachute in it. So like you can go parachute gliding and things like that. That's fine, these things exist. That doesn't make it sounds too surprising. He has a grappling hook. Alright. A little bit further out there, but still can exist. He can hook the grappling hook from one end to a different thing. Okay, now you're starting to get a little wonky. And one of the video tech demos they showed was they hooked the helicopter and a cow together. And they started to take off with the cow flying after, cow dangling beneath them. And then they whipped the cow around until it went to the razor blades of the helicopter and got torn up into shreds. So, this is a game that's going to be like, you set aside all suspension of disbelief because nothing in this game is going to make sense. You're just going to be going around doing stupid shit and having fun. All with glorious, destructible environments and shit like that.
Go on, little kids, have fun.
Go play with your virtual Legos.
Go on, go blow shit up, have fun. This is a game, no consequences to your actions. Go on.
There is. I think that's actually one of the taglines. It's like no consequences for your actions or something like that. let me find it because there are some like really funny taglines for this game. Let's see what we got here.
It also partially, very slightly reminds me of the racing game Split Second.
Yeah. Yeah, there are no. I guess there are no taglines.
Yeah, okay.
But there is a story in this game. Supposedly, I can't confirm or deny this, but there's supposedly a story in this game.
Brought to you by Avalanche Studios and being published by Square Enix.
Mm-hmm.
So that okay. All right, because okay, I could see it where a game like that could have appeal because there are times when I don't want to play a serious game like an RPG or ones that require immense reflexes like a platform. I just want to have mindless fun.
I just want to go riding around on a speedboat, shooting helicopters out of the sky, and tying two speedboats together and watching them pirouette around each other before they crash into each other. And explode on a giant fireball of flame.
It's like I just want to enjoy mindless fun. Just take my brain off the hook for a while.
Just unplug my brain. Just be mindless zombie, watching things explode, going ooh, pretty lights.
Basically. So we'll move on from there. There's another Rainbow Six game coming out. Rainbow Six Siege. Another series I haven't touched.
Is this where you're like a SWAT team and you're invading and like trying to break into a house that's got a bunch of like hostage takers inside?
Yeah, it's Ubisoft. It's Ubisoft, one of Ubisoft's babies.
Okay.
And it comes out December 1st for Xbox One, PS4, and PC. So current gen. No backwards gen there. So. We've already mentioned Xenoblade Chronicles. I can't believe this series is still going on. Roller Coaster Tycoon.
That's a bit interesting.
It's still going on. Roller Coaster Tycoon World.
Alright.
For PC only. And
okay.
it still continues the the same sort of build your own. It's simulation. Build your own theme park.
Mm-hmm.
And even all the more shocking is that it's being published. It's made by Pipeworks. Its publisher is Atari.
Huh. All right.
So yep, it's build your own theme park and have fun.
Yeah. I will mention that you have Rock Band Live and Guitar Hero Live, I think, or something like that. Like those, you have new entries in Rock Band and Guitar Hero
for the first time in really quite main entries in quite a while.
Yeah, like since 2010, I think 2011.
You might be right, because that was a genre that became
exploded and then imploded as quickly as it exploded.
Yeah, and now it's like, now they're slowly like, do we want to try this again?
I think the reason why it imploded was because the fans of the genre wanted to be able to take advantage of the burgeoning technology of iTunes and Spotify and Pandora, and having like all their music library be put into the game. And whereas previously they couldn't do that because of limiting hardware and space because of PS2 and Xbox technology, now they can get away with it because you have hard drives on basically everything. And for your Xbox One and your PS4 and your Wii U.
Rock Band 4 came out a month ago. It came out on October 6th.
Okay.
But this was, this is Rock Band 4, just came out a month ago. It's the first entry in Rock Band in 5 years.
Okay, so 2010 was their last one.
Yep, October 26, 2010. So, yeah. So now the games are at least Rock Band is like slowly picking itself up out of the nuclear wasteland and going, is it safe?
Can we take advantage of technology that should have existed a couple years ago? But yeah, I mean, those were always fun party games for people to play. So if you're willing to plunk down $150 or so for the entire kit, then
there's still, we may rag on the rhythm game genre, but to be fair, there is still a good fan following. I mean,
it's still a good fan base for it. It's just the fact that people didn't want to have to spend $150 to buy peripherals every year.
Which is true. I mean, when I go to PAX, there is a section of the convention center devoted to these games. There are two small stages that are devoted to Rock Band and Guitar Hero, and people go to PAX just to watch people jam on these games and play them, all convention long. So they're still getting use out of them.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. It's just like they're not. People enjoy rhythm games because it's actually you playing the song.
So, and with Rock Band 4, that'll probably add a new layer to the jam space. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
That's what it's called at PAX, the jam space.
Nice.
So, that has the potential to bring back those who left the fold.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, moving right along, we have, I think there were, on Game Informer's list, there was only 6 games coming out for December. The last one is a Wii U game that I have not heard a single bit about until just this second. It's called Devil's Third?
I have never heard this either. Lord Google, enlighten me to what Devil's Third is, please.
I've never heard of it until just this second.
Right. Devil's Third. Google has directed me to Lord Wikipedia. Lord Wikipedia, tell me about this.
But apparently it's also going to come out for a possible Windows.
Alright. So, came out in Japan August 4th, came out in EU, in Australia August 28th and 29th.
Oh,
Okay, right.
All right, so the U.S. is the last to get this game.
U.S. is getting this, and supposedly it's going to be on PC
eventually.
soonish. All right, so the basic premise of the game is we threw so much shit into space that all of that shit's coming back down. Sorry. Okay, so I'm quoting Wikipedia here. The game's backstory is based on the Kessler syndrome theory. And for those who don't know, I went and looked it up for you. Basically, all the space debris that that gets thrown into space from throwing up satellites and loose nuts and bolts and rocks and shit like that, they all enter geosynchronous orbit.
Rocket parts.
Yeah. They all enter geosynchronous orbit around Earth because they have their own mass and science and physics. Well, the theory of this game is so much debris gets thrown into space that it starts colliding with all the communication satellites, which they in turn produce their own debris, crashing into more satellites. So basically, over a series of a couple weeks to a couple months,
and the effect magnifies
and blows up pretty much all the satellites that are both civilian and military. So you then lose a bunch of communication and spy satellites, which then makes people be irrational idiots and cause wars. And then you basically need to play like a 3D, like a FPS game, where you don't have satellite technology. So you basically don't have like no GPS, no real time radar, nothing like that. It's all going to be based on like.
So basically, back to what war was like before the advent of instant communication.
Yeah, basically back to what war was like in World War I and World War II, where it's a lot of like infantry movement, a lot of like tank battles, and plane battles will exist, but there's obviously only going to be with like active radar and sonar on those things.
And looking at the history of this game, it looked like this was originally a THQ game. This was supposed to be a previous gen game.
Okay.
It was THQ, but then when THQ closed,
they went belly up, so it got bought up by Valhalla Game Studios,
and then Nintendo got the rights. So what was going to be a game that was supposed to come out on PS3, 360, and PC is now a Wii U exclusive.
Until eventually it gets on PC.
When it gets there.
Yeah.
That could be interesting.
The review source say otherwise.
I don't put stock into professional reviews, you know that.
Do you put stock into fan reviews?
I do put a little bit more stock in fan reviews.
Okay, Game Rankings has it at 43.92%. Metacritic has it at 44 out of 100.
Oh, wow. Maybe not then.
The game... Okay, so pre-release reviews were negative, complaining about poor graphics, heavily inconsistent frame rate, stiff aiming, and input lag. Okay, that's the pre-release. So since release, game has received mixed to positive. Famitsu gave it a 33 out of 40. Okay. So these reviews are only Japan related. Okay, so Japan gave it a middling score, while everyone else gave it a poor to negative score, in the similar 43 to 45 range.
All right, maybe it won't be interesting.
Maybe this isn't okay. If this is Nintendo's attempt into getting the FPS shooters, I guess A for effort. Your execution needs to be better. You're getting like a 3 from Ron here, so
listen up.
Yeah. So shape up, Nintendo.
Yeah, listen. And you know, Nintendo, whenever it tries to break free of its mold as a family, kid-friendly, option,
yeah,
it ends up with, unfortunately, bad results. Like the one time they really made a really serious effort to produce like a first-party almost M-rated game. That was Eternal Darkness. It was critically acclaimed. It got 9s and 10s all across the board. It was a really, really good game.
Yeah, if memory serves, they just did no marketing for it.
I don't know what the hell they did with the marketing because nobody bought it.
Yeah. Like, is it, I mean, we can, or Wikipedia, when did this game come out?
What, Eternal Darkness?
Yeah.
Oh, that was a GameCube title.
Yeah. Okay, this came out in North America in June. So it came
2002.
out... Yeah, June 2002. So that came out at a time when, in theory, nothing big was going on then, as far as I know.
And the game was made by Silicon Knights, which had, before they decided to sue Epic, even though for what? Oh God, that whole fiasco.
Yeah.
I mean, part of the problem was that this game wasn't when people were, they're like, really? Nintendo's making an M-rated game? It was just so weird and foreign to a lot of people. They never picked it up.
Yeah.
They're like, wait a minute, Nintendo's making an M-rated survival horror game? No,
that's not possible.
No, Nintendo doesn't make games with blood and violence.
And swearing and creepy Cthulhu overtones. No, that's not them.
That's not them at all, so nobody bought it.
Yeah.
It's a fucking amazing game, but nobody bought it. And all the reviews were like, this is a fucking great game. This is really good. Nobody bought it.
It might just be a case of, like, no one... Like, they had absolutely no marketing for it.
So, be that as it may. So, apparently Nintendo tried to make a shooter and womp-womped.
Yeah, womp-womp.
So, getting piss-poor reviews in other countries, Nintendo's like, well, let's finally give it to North America, see what they think.
Give it to the people that actually enjoy FPS games.
Americans love killing shit.
Just look at Chicago. as I jab at myself here.
Yeah, just way to throw your entire city under the bus, Ron.
I mean, to be fair, if I didn't, they shoot me, so...
Yeah. What you don't see is off-camera, Ron is being held at gunpoint.
I've got another game that's coming out this year.
Okay.
It is the third entry in the StarCraft II Legacy. It is StarCraft II Legacy of the Void.
Oh, Korea's national sport is getting an update.
Yes. Currently, as we are recording, BlizzCon is going on right now, and they're finishing up their Heart of the Swarm, like World Championship Series.
Do you have a Twitch feed going on in the background?
I do, but that's besides the point.
Ron is paying attention to the pulse of esports, ladies and gentlemen.
I actually am probably one of the few people on downloadable content that actually does pay attention to Twitch. So
yeah, you are on the cutting edge of esports with the Twitch stream. So,
but if for nothing else, they're finishing up the story that they began crafting in StarCraft Wings of Liberty, or StarCraft II Wings of Liberty, I should say. And if nothing else, there will be like gameplay updates and new units and things and new storylines for people to play, along with a new online ranking system for you to enjoy and get mad at.
Now wait a minute. Game Informer has this game coming out November 10th. Is it already out?
I said November 10th, did I not?
Oh, I may have missed it.
Okay, it is November 10th. It is just on PC
and Mac.
Okay, PC and Mac.
I don't know who actually plays games on their Mac. But
I was gonna say, games on a Mac. Are you mad?
I don't know. That's not a criticism, Internet. That's actually a fair assessment. I actually don't know anybody who plays video games on a Mac.
Yeah.
I own a Mac. I'm recording on a Mac, but I've never. I don't know anybody who doesn't use a PC to game.
Yeah,
anyway.
I don't know anyone that uses a PC. I'm sorry, that uses a Mac to game on either.
Yeah. So anyway, I know you pay attention to this far more than I do. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I mean, it's StarCraft 2's like. I mean, StarCraft 2 is South Korea's like favorite pastime. So if nothing else, Blizzard's going to get some money from them. But I mean, that's all I have for games coming out this year. Brian, do you have anything?
I actually really don't. So I mean, we've kind of covered most of the major titles. So since we have a little bit of time left, what I wanted to do, since usually what we do on downloadable content is on the season finale, so on the episode that usually goes up right before Christmas, we tend to talk about games that we're looking forward to for next year. But since the season finale is going to be talking about, it's going to be we're bringing
Mario Part 4.
Yeah, we're bringing Mario full circle. We started with Mario, we're going to end with Mario. We're going to be talking about the Mario offshoot games, so Mario Kart, Mario Party, the sports titles, etc. So I wanted to devote a little bit of time, the remaining time, to talk about games that we're actually looking forward to for next year, since we're not going to be devoting time to that in December.
Yeah.
So taking a look at the upcoming releases for 2016, outside of the blatantly obvious, so Final Fantasy VII, Kingdom Hearts 3, Final
Fantasy 15.
Yeah, that. It's like, I'm crossing my fingers, but, no promises. Taking a look at what's coming out early 2016, we've got a couple of big ones. Not Mega Man.
Also known as Mighty Number 9.
Mighty Number 9 coming out February 9th, and it's coming out on everything.
Windows, Macintosh, Linux, PS3, PS4, PS Vita, 3DS, Wii U, Xbox 360, Xbox One.
Yep. It is coming out on everything because they made so much money to be able to release it on everything. Although, just as a, again, very brief aside, I look at the symbols that they use, and they use XBO for Xbox One, and my brain keeps wanting to correct it to HBO. I'm like, why is a game coming out on HBO? But it's Mighty Number 9, as I keep calling it, not Mega Man.
I've got XCOM 2 a couple days earlier, February 5th.
You play the XCOM games,
yeah.
All right.
I played the first XCOM reboot. I had a lot of fun with it. XCOM 2, they are going off the theory that how they are basically progressing the game based on how most first playthroughs on XCOM 1 went. And for those who don't know, most people's first playthrough in XCOM 1 was failing horribly and getting invaded by aliens. So you are now playing the Resistance group. You are playing the scrappy rebels instead of the megalomaniac secret organization.
Aha!
The aliens have invaded. They present themselves as benevolent overlords. You're trying to prove that they are not benevolent overlords, but instead are evil asshole aliens, and need to get kicked off the fucking planet.
X-Files the game. No. X-Files the game. So
you are playing the scrappy you are playing the scrappy resistance group, trying to undermine and steal and hack your way to the point where you can kick all the aliens off the planet.
Aha!
Later in February, we also have Street Fighter V,
which will spawn 900 games.
That is February 16th for Windows and PS4.
It's gonna spawn. It starts with Street Fighter V, and then it's gonna be Turbo, Hyper, Super,
Alpha. Don't forget Alpha.
Alpha, Beta, Epsilon, Fuck Your
Omega.
Mother Edition. It's that's we already know where that's going. Although we've got continuing the fighting theme, Dead or Alive Extreme 3.
Yep. For people who enjoy the boobies.
Yeah, for the boob physics go out the door. RPG fans get another Star Ocean game, February 25th. Integrity and Faithlessness is the subtitle.
It's PS4 only. I don't think you mentioned that.
Timed exclusive.
Yeah. For those who don't want timed exclusives, you do have Deus Ex Mankind Divided, which is your sequel to Deus Ex Human Revolution. And that's going to be on PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Yep, that's February 23rd. Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2, coming out February 23rd on current gen and PC.
You got Uncharted 4 in March 18th.
Yep.
And then...
Dragon Quest is getting a spin-off. How cute. January 28th, Dragon Quest Builders.
Okay.
Well, how cute.
I think that's most of the... early next year?
Yeah, and then we get into things like Dark Souls 3.
Mm-hmm.
We get into the next Mirror's Edge game, Catalyst.
No Man's Sky got pushed back into 2016. Yep. Supposedly somewhere in June.
Yep.
Supposedly, Brian, Blizzard's next IP, their next new IP.
Oh.
Overwatch comes out sometime next year.
Oh, okay.
The simplest way for me to describe it to you, because it's probably your first time hearing about it, is imagine if Pixar and Team Fortress 2 made a game.
Okay. All right.
And sprinkle in a little bit of MOBA like ultimate ability.
Okay.
It sounds weird. I've been watching. They have their closed beta going on right now. The game actually looks like a lot of fun. You've got a sort of capture the flag, which is it's mostly a first-person shooter game. Got a little bit of capture the flag elements and protect the princess mode, as I call it.
Yep.
But the game just looks like a lot of fun, and there's a lot of strategy behind it too. So I think that this could be a game that you will enjoy playing with friends.
Very cool, and we have some games that do not have slated release dates yet, like the next Mass Effect game, Andromeda.
Supposedly 2016. I'm personally expecting either very late 2016 or early 2017.
That's entirely possible.
Bravely Second is sometime next year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what else we got. Doom is supposedly next year as well.
Oh, wow. I did not know the King of Fighters series was still going.
Yeah, that's King of Fighters 16 or something?
14.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fire Emblem Fates is supposedly next year. The reason why I'm mentioning this is because it is... Oh, no, that's a different game I'm thinking of. There's a game being made that's supposed to be coming out either next year or early 2017, which is Fire Emblem Shin Megami Tensei, I think.
Oh.
It basically is Fire Emblem plus Shin Megami Tensei.
Okay.
It's being made by Atlas and Nintendo. Let's see what else is coming out. That's jumping out at me. Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter Prologue.
And it's shit like this that pisses me off. It's... And the whole fucking thing that Square does with the Kingdom Hearts series. We have Kingdom Hearts 1, then we had, Kingdom Hearts 2, Chain of Memories, then you had the stupid...
Then you have 7 spin-offs.
Then you have, 356 over 2 days...
Birth by Sleep.
Dream Drop Distance, which I still have and haven't opened yet.
I think this is combining all those into one game and turning 358 into 2 days into basically like a 20-minute FMV.
This is called a cash grab, is what it's called.
This is called the cash grab.
Let's not beat around the fucking bush.
Let's call it for what it is. It's the cash grab. I'm not denying that.
When you have a title that is Kingdom Hearts 2.8, so this is like a cock tease for 3.
Yeah. You have Persona 5.
Good God.
Coming out next year in the third quarter.
I feel like I need to throttle somebody at Square now. What the fuck? Just release 3 already.
Think happy thoughts, Brian.
This is gonna be like the Duke.
Think about this. You'll be able to walk around. You'll be able to walk around going to work and then catch a Pikachu while you're playing Pokemon Go on your phone.
For fuck's sake, Square. You know, I'm sorry. I need to get this out of my system.
Okay. PSA: Brian's about to go on a rant. If you want to skip this, fast forward about 5 minutes.
Why, Square, do you do this? Okay, let's have a little bit of a history thing. Kingdom Hearts 2 came out
2008. I'm sorry, 2007.
No, it didn't. Kingdom Hearts 2 came out in 2005 in Japan. It came out in 2006 in the United States. So 10 fucking years have passed since Kingdom Hearts 2, Square, and yet you drop little shit-faced tidbits of little teasers, little with stupid fuck-ass titles that just. And now, 2.8. What was another one? 1.5 Final Mix International. Bleh!
Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD Final Mix, I think is what it was called.
Good God, just release the damn game, Square. What the hell are you waiting for? Ay, ay, ay. I swear, Kingdom Hearts 3 is coming dangerously close to Duke Nukem Forever levels of development hell. Ay, ay, ay. I might not buy it just out of spite. Just be like, no, this game doesn't exist. Okay, I'm done.
Feel better?
I feel better.
All right.
Go on.
Okay, so we've got Persona 5 coming out 2015 third quarter. We've got Pokemon Go coming out sometime next year for your Apple phones and your Android phones. Let's see what else we got here.
Oh, Resident Evil 0 and 1 are getting another rehash.
That's not surprising.
Because, that's what Capcom is reduced to.
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying. Again, supposedly Final Fantasy 15 is coming out next year.
Oh, there's one that's jumping out at me. It's an indie game. It's made by the same company that made Gone Home. It's the Fulbright company. The game is called Tacoma. Okay.
Yeah, the mystery game where you're in Tacoma National Forest and then weird stuff's going on. There might be a murderer in the forest.
Weird shit happens. Loud noises.
Let's see, what else is coming out? I think you have your next WoW expansion sometime next year for those that are excited about that.
I see how the list says Untitled Battlefield video game. Untitled...
Yeah, just assume just assume these things.
Oh, good God. Oh, that's right. The Olympics are next year, so I'm sure there's going to be another Mario and Sonic at the Olympic Games.
Yeah, there'll probably be another one of those. Let's see. Gears of War 4, supposedly next year.
Joy.
There'll probably be another Call of Duty game.
Or 6.
Yeah, probably. What else was there? There was a couple other things that I thought were pretty substantial. Ratchet and Clank next year.
I saw actually I went to see... Okay. Time for me to date myself. I went a couple of weeks ago to indulge my childhood. I went to see the Goosebumps movie.
Alrighty.
And before the movie, they showed a trailer for the upcoming Ratchet and Clank movie.
Alrighty.
So I have to wonder if that game is a movie tie-in.
I don't know. I want to say
or if it's a new game. It might be.
It's a reimagining of the first game in the series based on the upcoming film, so it is a film tie-in.
So yeah, I was right.
Okay. We have Star Fox Zero.
Oh, that's right.
That's supposedly coming out early next year.
That's right.
I
forgot about that.
You have, for people like me and eventually you, Brian, Sword Coast Legends. This is a Dungeons and Dragons video game that's going to be released sometime next year. I'm sorry, it's released now. It's being released for PS4 and Xbox One next year. The reason why I'm bringing it up is because there are pre-made campaigns in the game, or you as a dungeon master can make your own campaigns for people to play in, and you get to control when they encounter various enemies and control the battlescape and things like that.
Nice.
And this is going to be based on the newest Dungeons and Dragons rule set, so Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition.
Which is fine, because that's what I'm currently playing.
Alrighty. There's the Quantum Break game next year. That's that like weird action-adventure time travel thing, I think.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, the plot of the game is a time travel experiment goes wrong, and you need to stop time from unraveling and unmaking the universe.
So the plot is every episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah. You're playing an American Doctor Who.
Well, current Doctor Who anyway. New Who.
Yeah.
I'm still one of those snobs who prefers the classic series to the new series, but that's just me.
But that's everything that's jumped out at me.
Okay, well, we will have to see what happens because, 2016 is 2016. We'll see how many of these games actually get released, how many get canceled, how many get delayed. So, as is typical of the video game industry. So,
yeah,
there we are. We've wrapped it up for you, our holiday lineup. And if you have any questions, comments, legitimate gripes, rebuttals to my Kingdom Hearts rant, you can get a hold of us on Facebook.com/DLContent, on Twitter @DLContent, on Tumblr DLCpodcast.tumblr.com, email dlcontent1@gmail.com, and every single episode of downloadable content is on iTunes, YouTube, and Stitcher. So that about does it for us. I fully expect that by the time this episode goes up, which will be hopefully November 11th, you guys will all be in your various underground vaults playing Fallout 4. I would expect nothing less of you. In fact, I may not see Ron for weeks.
Debatable.
It's debatable at this point. So, all that remains for me to do is to thank Ron for being on this episode. And so with that, I am Brian, and have a good one, everybody.